Hey everybody, it's Thursday night. That means it is time for some shop talk. I'm Josh Olive with Haven Comics, so stick around after this and we're going to get down to it. What's happening, everybody? Hope you're having a great night. It is a fantastic week for comics. Last week was a huge week for comics. So many great things coming out, so we're excited to talk to you about them. Speaking of things I'm excited to talk to, let's bring on Alan. What's up, Alan?
Here to save you.
That wasn't creepy at all.
No, some of these I'm a little disappointed in just because they're so fast. I really need to find a good site. I mean, like this one. I like this one, but it's way too fast.
Say hello to my new friend!
That's true.
Slow it down just a little bit. And this one, this is a great one.
This is an absolutely unforgivable violation. This is an...
But it says it way too fast.
That's fantastic. Oh, that's great. So
But
how
this
are
one-
things? What's going on, man?
This one is just right.
We'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there. G.I.
Oh, that's fantastic. What's up, Nate? How you doing, brother?
What's
Good to
up,
see
Nate?
you. So, I know I was teasing you because I picked up my comics a little bit early, and I was just sending you pictures and like little tiny mini reviews.
Yeah, and I noticed that you just keep blowing right past my comment about Justin and Tuesday nights.
You know, if you reach out to him, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. I did see something earlier today, and I did not get a chance to read the entire article, but I read enough of it to get the gist of it.
Okay.
And it was kind of interesting the way they did it. And I know this is, kind of sticks in some folks' craw, but they were talking about how the backlash of Ben Affleck when he was announced as Batman,
Yep.
and then how he ends up being what a lot of people consider the perfect Bruce Wayne Batman combo.
He was great. I
Just
agree.
was not a great movie. Well, guess who they are saying is the heir apparent and is the replacement for Batfleck or Batfleck, whatever you say it.
Didn't they already cast Shovelface?
No, they have not cast anybody for Batman, but they're saying the true replacement for Batfleck is Absolute Batman.
Oh, well, there you go.
I was like, okay, yeah.
No.
No. Nicolas Cage owes me a third National Treasure movie, and he can do absolutely nothing until I get it. Because I did love those movies, by the way. Or those two movies, yeah.
That's interesting.
I really wish they go, and as far as, they've already cast some relatively known actors, but as far as Batman is concerned, I'm kind of hoping they go an unknown actor.
I thought they already had what's his face cast as the Batman, and they're doing sequels. What are you talking about?
Oh, no, I'm talking about for James Gunn's DCU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just very confused. I'm like, there's this whole thing of Batman movies that just started, and you are confusing me. But
No. Sorry, I'm talking about James Gunn's DCU.
got it. We'll see how that turns out.
Which they're now saying that we should get the first teaser trailer for Superman mid-December.
Feel like we should have had it already, but okay.
Yeah, really, it seems like they've been filming this movie for the past 15 years.
Yeah, it's been a minute. And Peacemaker Season 2 is all wrapped up. I think they've still got some post-production stuff, but they're done with everything. So looking forward to that one, too. Of course, we have special reason for that. Anyway, while we're waiting for Mark to get here, Let's talk some comics, dude. Storefolio.
Let's see
Storefolio.
what we got. I did read a bunch this afternoon. I'm getting to the point where I read last week's comics on Thursday afternoons, so they're still fresh in my mind.
That works.
I know that we did not get to talk a lot. Well, I mean, we talked a lot, but we didn't get to like deep dive into Absolute Superman 1,
Correct.
G.I. Joe 1, and Absolute Batman 2 last week because
Right.
we still had people that, but I did bring them.
Because it had just come out and people hadn't had a chance to read them. But now we can spoil things because people have had time.
Yeah, but before we get to them, because I'm sure we could talk about them for a while, I will go ahead and I've been saying this since the very beginning, and no one's listening to me, or at least the people that could make this decision are not listening to me. I really wish Marvel would stop with these red band editions. There is nothing red band about this whatsoever.
Nothing.
And it's really sad because this has been a really fun read, and it's been a really good book. We're getting ready to wrap this up, so you're still kind of in that same position of you want Elsa and Jack together, but we don't know if they're ever going to end up being together. Truly be together.
It's true.
But I mean, Werewolf by Night has been really good. I just don't like the fact that we added a little extra gore to what is essentially 2, maybe 3 panels. And then we're going to market it as red band. And yes, I'm going to check that out too. But like when he have you read this?
Yeah.
Okay. So the scene where they get him out of the cage and they let him just tear into the big, Godzilla-like dinosaur thing, whatever it was supposed to be.
Yep.
They could have truly went red band with that if they wanted to.
Could have.
But they didn't.
Chose not to. I do feel that we are being remiss if we don't show off.
Mine is sitting on the desk at the house. Did you see the post that I tagged you in the other day?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, somebody posted our picks, and I got a kick out of that. I got to be honest with you. I was like, I wonder where they saw them at.
I got Baroness with a very sour expression.
Yep.
And you got Scarlet, like full action kind of deal, by Chris Mooneyham. These were done at the Memphis Comic Show. Huge shout out to Mike Wesolowski for hearing our prayers and running over to Chris Mooneyham to get him to do those for us. And then to Jeremy Long for delivering them to the store.
Yes,
it was this long chain of
very,
events
very
that got those things to us. But we are very grateful because they are awesome.
Yeah, and Jeremy Long, if you want to bring Chris Mooneyham to the Pop Culture Expo next year, I don't think we would complain about that one solitary bit.
I certainly would not.
Nope. Next up, and this was a really cool issue. It took me just a second to figure out what was going on with it, but I did enjoy it once I got into it, and that was Space Ghost issue 7. It's basically they shot down, crash landed on a planet, and it starts off with someone talking to Jace, and you realize that it's Blip, and pretty much the entire story is told from Blip's point of view.
Nice.
He is smart. He can talk, but the reason being is on this particular planet, there's some type of machine that's going off that has reversed basically the food chain and has made animals extremely smart to where they can talk, and has made humans like basically the dumb primates. Okay. And it's all about Blip. Basically, in Blip's mind, Jan, Jace, and Space Ghost, they are his family. And he literally calls them that. It's a really good issue. It's very well done.
Written by this David Pepos guy.
Yeah, this David Pepos fella, I don't know where he comes up with this stuff. I am a little sad. This is issue 7, and I believe we're only getting 12 issues.
We'll see.
Hopefully, we will get more.
For anybody who did not catch last week's show, we had David Pepos on,
2 weeks
writer,
ago.
or 2 weeks ago, right? Writer of Space Ghost, writer of the new Punisher book for Marvel, writer of Moon Knight, City of the Dead, writer of all kinds of stuff. Phenomenal guy. And just in talking about something, just kind of a throwaway thing, he was able to capture this little hook about a character and suddenly make that a fleshed out character that you were interested in. Really talented writer, and the way he looks at the world and the way he looks at characters, really, really good writer. So check out some of his stuff.
Yeah, and it has been announced already. It's been all over Twitter. I think I saw it on Instagram also. He is writing the next installment. I'm not sure how many issues it's going to be of Speed Racer.
Go Speed Racer!
Definitely looking forward to that because I want to see how he does the relationship between Speed Racer and Racer X.
Oh, yeah.
So that should be really fun, just the way he does his characters. Next up, we have Johnny Quest issue 4. And there's definitely something going on with the Johnny Quest of the future. And that's about all I can say about this book. This book was action-packed from beginning to end. I mean, this has been fun. If you're looking for a bit of nostalgia, this is especially for people my age, this is definitely the book that you need to be reading. It's been really good. It's been solid. There was something that happened in the very first issue, and they end up like 50, 60 years in the future, and they end up meeting an old man, Johnny Quest. He refuses to call Race. He calls him Roger. There's some animosity there. The future Johnny Quest, him and Haji pretty much have nothing to do with each other. They hate each other. There's something happened between him and his dad, and he even tells his dad, the old version of him tells his dad, "We can't talk about it. There, and to me, you're dead. And there's a lot of things that I want to talk to you about, but I can't." So there's a ton of stuff going on in the background. As for all the action that was in this was kind of the filler issue. It's getting us where we need to go, which has been really good. Next up on my list, this one came out a few weeks ago, and I just now got a chance to read it. And Nick Ellis, if you see this is really and truly, this is right up your alley. But they did.
Must not be a comic book.
Oh well, no. It's something else that we kind of turned Nick onto. But they did make a comic book, and they did a one-shot for Alien Romulus.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
And it is the prequel to the movie. I'm normally not that big on prequels because they kind of let my expectations down. But they did really, really good with this. You get the backstory of why Rook was there in Alien Romulus. You find out what happened pretty much what seems like just before the movie Alien Romulus takes place. If you've seen Alien Romulus, you need to pick this book up. If you have not seen the movie, I mean, you could still read this. Oh, thank you. But you can.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yep. But if you've seen the movie, you need this book. If you have not seen the movie and you just want a standalone alien story one shot, perfectly done. You get everything that you need right here in this one book. And if it decides, because I saw where the movie is now playing on Hulu, so you can check it out, which I love that movie.
Hey, have you written anything that we would have had a chance to read? Apologies if your name should ring a bell with me and I'm just not catching it, but we'd love to know. While you're doing that, I'll do a quick plug for or a quick Rocketfellers #1, guys. These Ghost Machine folks may just know what they're doing. I mean, they might just have a future in this industry. This one's written by Peter Tomasi, and Francis Manipul is on art duties, and he is phenomenal. The story's phenomenal. This is kind of like what you might expect to get if you crossed Fantastic Four with Iron Man, maybe. And I say that really because the dad just really reminds me of Tony Stark. I mean, how could he not? He clearly looks like Tony Stark. But it's a very family-focused book. The premise being that they are on the run from somebody, and they are running to get away. They have to run through time, and so they bloop and they escape through time 400 years into the past, which is our present. So it's these people from the future living in our present. While these people from the future are looking for them, trying to get to them, they do have some communication with somebody in the future. We'll see how that shakes out, but it's extremely cool. This is such a good book, and it's kind of marketed toward kids a little bit, but it's not a kid's book, right? It's just family friendly, but that doesn't mean that it's childish, because it's certainly not childish. Very, very good book. The characters are getting fleshed out. There's a lot of pathos in it already. Just a fantastic book. Strongly recommend. And number 1 just came out, so you should still be able to get your hands on it.
Yeah, just save me a copy, you jerks. I know how y'all do me at the shop. But do you know when that? I guess it was it that Ghost Machine special edition that come out that had that in there?
Yes.
That's the only thing I've read. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of some type of bizarre cross of the Jetsons meets Carousel of Progress. And I don't know why.
You know, that's actually not a bad mix at all. It's more grown up and serious than that.
Yeah.
But that vibe is still somehow there. Yeah.
Yeah, the art really reminded, I don't know, for some reason when I was reading it, it was like, this is what Carousel of Progress would look like in comic book form to me. And I don't know why.
No, and I absolutely get that. It's got the whole family thing, and I'm with you on that, and I do appreciate that perspective. Really, really good. Yeah, let us know what novels I don't know if you can see behind all the action figures and stuff. There are many, many books, and that's just on camera. You can see 2 of the 7, 8 shelves in this room, and this is just one room in the house. I dig my books.
Yeah, that's how our house is. Just books piled up everywhere.
Hyde Street was spectacular.
Oh yeah. Have you read Devour yet?
I did.
I'm talking about
Nate.
Yeah. That ending is a little disturbing.
Yeah, Nate, if you have not read It Happened on Hyde Street, Devour, which is a one-shot set in that world, you need to read that. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it does not truly get uncomfortable until like the last 2 pages.
Yeah, and then it gets uncomfortable real fast, real hard.
And then you're like, we're going there. We don't have to go there. We can leave there alone.
Too late, already went.
Yeah. I got literally 2 books left. That is Godzilla, Here There Be Dragons 2, The Sons of Giants. I like what they're doing. I like the way the story is laid out. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about what direction we're going. Because Mike, you need to pick up that one.
Yeah,
Mike, by the way,
copies.
Thank you very much for those commissions. That was awesome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, because it's beautiful in every single way.
But apparently, I believe it was, you have the kaiju on the planet. They've always been here. They're kind of like protectors of Earth, basically. Except King Ghidorah was not from Earth. King Ghidorah was an alien.
Well, I'm shocked, I tell you.
that actually brings about more aliens. And at one point, I believe it was Thomas Jefferson encounters an entire armada of aliens, and the aliens have Mechagodzilla with them.
Oh, awesome.
So, and then I think the follow-up to this is supposed to be Godzilla, Here There Be Aliens. I really loved the first arc, Here There Be Dragons, because it was a pirate tale, and it was told by pirates. Nick, Alien Romulus One Shot. It is a prequel to the movie we went and saw.
It's a one shot. Even you can read that.
Yeah, even you can read a one shot. And I would love to know if you've read Absolute Superman yet. I heard through the grapevine that you bought it.
What's up, Daniel Major? How you doing, brother?
But last on my list is
It's okay. We haven't talked about G.I. Joe yet. You're good.
Yeah, we have not got there yet. I've got Gotham by Gaslight, Kryptonian Age. I believe this is issue 6, and I think this is the last issue. But it leaves off with the ultimate cliffhanger, and I must say, I do really enjoy the Superman suit. I thought that was really cool.
I thought that was pretty well done too. And then there's the whole indication of another series coming out.
Yeah, all it says is coming 2025, A League for Justice. And I mean, they've got all the players there. Here's your League for Justice plug.
Yep.
So I'm not sure how I feel about the Alan Scott character as of right now. He's kind of getting on my nerves, but I think he's designed to get on my nerves just the way he's written.
I think you're correct. Oh, hey, yeah, no worries, man.
Oh, no, you're fine. We are known to get sidetracked and be happy and content.
Yeah, tangents. We never met one we didn't like.
Yeah, really.
Oh man, Gotham Central was so good.
Out of the Gotham by Gaslight, I would love to see more of this version of Constantine.
I'm with you on that.
He's coming. The whole exchange between Constantine and Ra's al Ghul, I thought was great.
Yep.
As far as a read is concerned, the pacing on Kryptonian Age has been perfect. All 6 issues.
Yeah, it's been very solid.
They have not rushed it. It has not dragged out. Everything that we've needed to know. My only complaint is, why did we call it the Kryptonian Age?
Because they were going to introduce Superman. It's the only reason I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, they did introduce him, but they ultimately introduced the entire Justice League pretty much.
Yep, they certainly did.
One thing that I did like, and I'm not a big Martian Manhunter fan, but I really liked the way Martian Manhunter looked in this. What one little glimpse you got of him.
I like that better too, if I'm honest. I'm not a huge Martian Manhunter fan either. I know several folks who love Martian Manhunter. More power to him. He's just not. He's always just seemed kind of weird to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, and I know we're getting like an absolute Martian Manhunter.
Which seems like a bizarre choice to me, but
it really does, because I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to flip his weakness from fire to water? Well, he's on Earth. He's kind of messed up now.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's raining. No.
I would love to fight crime today, but Jeff Castle said that it's supposed to sprinkle, so I can't fight crime.
No, Gotham by Gaslight was the Mike Mignola book a long time ago. It was an Elseworld story where it was the Jack the Ripper came across from the UK, and that's why they never caught him, because he left and he was killing people over here. But Bruce Wayne caught him.
Yeah, and Nick, it's not too scary. Even though it's horror, it's not too scary.
Well, you're going to get one, because there's an Absolute Green Lantern coming too.
Yeah, Absolute Green Lantern, Absolute Flash, Absolute Martian Manhunter are the 3 that I know. And I'm sure there'll be more. But let's just go on and bring it up. Let's get this argument started and over with. Rock and Roll is not dead. He can't.
I hate to break it to you, but I don't know how many holes you saw in his body caused by high-powered lasers that blew through him, but it was a lot, and he's dead.
Rock and Roll's not dead.
For anybody who wants to know, yeah, the book's been out for over a week now, so we're going to spoil it a little bit, unless somebody just really starts screaming in here. But yeah, the book ends with a powerful, powerful moment, and Rock and Roll just gets blown apart, and that sets the tone for what kind of book this is going to be.
Look, I'm telling y'all, look, just because y'all post it doesn't mean it's true, okay? I don't care.
You don't see the dead body on screen because you see him in the act of being killed, and he is shot so full of holes. There must be 14, 15, 20 of them that just go tearing through his body, completely 100% through his body. And it's not like they all were in the shoulder. You know what I mean? It's across hands, feet, arms, legs, torso, head. He gets blown apart.
No, he doesn't get hit in the head. I'm looking at it right now.
He's Napoleon blown apart. That was my dad joke for Mike, Kaylisa. All right, flash that up on the screen. Let people see it. This is the last page of the book.
He's only shot 7 times.
Yeah, but that covers pretty much his whole body.
It's only a flesh wound.
Yeah.
He's not dead until we get the funeral.
That'll be the next issue. I mean, he's dead. And if you go back and flip through the issue, right? They made him irritating. Right? They made him irritating. He was a goofball. Like he was in the dorm room in his college fraternity or something. They just made him irritating. So that when he died, you didn't feel quite so bad about it. Well,
he's going to come back like Cyborg.
See, I disagree. I think this new universe, this new world, I think this is part of it. I think he does get killed. And of course, that's not necessarily out of the picture for the Larry Hama series either. In issue 109, he killed off, 7, 8 different Joes, including Doc, for crying out loud. Quick Kick died. He killed off a bunch of them.
Now,
but this was them starting off saying, hey, guys, the stakes in this game or the stakes in this book are high. And they did the same thing in Transformers #1. The first thing that Starscream did when he was resurrected was blow Bumblebee's head off. So they're establishing that people can die.
Well, now hang on a second. Here's my thing about Bumblebee getting killed in issue 1 of Transformers. You had to do something that drastic because it seems like for the past 10 years since the Michael Bay movies have come out,
it's been nothing but Bumblebee all the time.
It's been nothing but Bumblebee. And everybody knows that it should really and truly center around Optimus.
Yep.
Optimus didn't get his own standalone movie. You know, I mean, even in the, what was it, Beast Wars, whatever it was. Yeah, they're going through all the stuff, but the big dramatic moment of it is Bumblebee comes back to life and dives out of the airplane and attacks. So I think they kind of had to kill Bumblebee to establish this is not the Transformers that you're going to be used to.
Well, they just did the same thing with G.I. Joe.
But here's the thing about it. It did not kill a true A-list character in G.I. Joe.
You don't think Rock and Roll's an A-list character?
No, I really don't. I don't think that, because Rock and Roll is one of those that, like a lot of other characters.
So, we had some technical difficulties. I don't know what happened to Alan.
No, I mean, it's okay. Well, think of it like this. if they put together a Joe team and you've got, let's say, Flint, Snake Eyes, Scarlet, Stalker, and Rock and Roll, who's the focus of that group? It's not Rock and Roll.
It depends on the story.
Rock and Roll is more of a supporting character. But here's the thing about it. He's a character that we've all grown up with. So the internet lies. Proof in point, I'm here. But he's a character we've all grown up with, so we all have a love for that character. But who do you replace him with now? I mean, they yapped him, so who do you replace him with?
Roadblock? Rock and Roll's MOS. He's a heavy gunner.
I gotta go with Daniel Major on that. The Outback better not get killed.
Point of order, Your Honor. Point of order.
I would like to. What about Snow Job? I mean, he's already been introduced.
Yes, he has. But he's not a replacement for Rock and Roll.
But what do you?
Totally different MOS. He's in a totally different area.
And see, and I was never that big on Roadblock.
Dude, Roadblock is awesome.
I was never that big on Roadblock.
Well, I don't know what to tell you because you've clearly got some problems.
Now, I mean, honestly, I love the way they've done Stalker.
Stalker's awesome. He's always
Stalker
awesome.
is fantastic in this series. I like the way they've introduced Snow Job into Scarlet. I like how Scarlet's still got its little bit of a thing going on, and it's not being pulled over into the main. Yeah, I don't know about Shipwreck.
He wouldn't be a good fit for. They're totally different jobs. That's the beauty of G.I. Joe is they're specialists. That's what makes them all stand out. They're not all interchangeable, right? They are specialists. You're going to have a group of specialists who are heavy gunners, like Rock and Roll, like Heavy Duty, like Roadblock. That's their deal. They carry around the humongous guns, and that's what they do. But you get these other guys; they're just not all interchangeable. So I don't think that that's the case. If you were going to replace Rock and Roll with somebody, I think Roadblock is the next most logical choice to do it. But what did you think about the introduction of that character, Risk?
The introduction to Risk was perfect. And here's the reason why I thought it was perfect. I did not know what was going on. He come out of nowhere. It happens fast. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Who is this? Did I miss him from somewhere? I like the mystery of it. And I like the fact that they brought him out of nowhere the way that he did. The way that they did.
Yeah, that's a good question, Daniel. I don't know if they think about that or not. I would hope that they do. I would imagine they think about it kind of like the way you build out a Dungeons and Dragons party, right? We need a tank, we need a hitter, we need a rogue, we need a thief, we need a wizard, we need a necromancer, we need a cleric, whatever the case may be. I would hope that they build a team out that way and that they do that. Hey, guys, we just had somebody pop on here. We have a very special guest, so we're going to go ahead and bring him on. Everybody, put your hands together for the one, the only, the stretched far too thin all of a sudden, Mark Beard.
Thank you.
You are a busy bee these days.
I am. This is the only place I get a applause. I love it. That's awesome.
Our conquering hero has returned.
Man, I done forgot about it, Josh. I had just got through doing another podcast, and I was like, well, I'm done with that for today. Then I come in here and I sit down, I looked at Facebook, and I said, oh, wait, there's a link. I was like, I forgot about that. And how's it going, guys? I haven't got to see you guys in a while.
It's been a little bit because you've been busy as all get up, man. You've been nuts.
I keep seeing I hadn't even got to shave. Oh, I look like
I haven't either. So How are we? So basically, issue 2 of Monsters come out today or yesterday.
Yep.
How do we do on sales, and how does that look for pre-sales for issue 3?
It pre-sold 14,000.
Which is higher than the print run for the first issue.
29% higher. I talked to DC on the phone, and I had about doing some covers and stuff, and I told them about that. And they said they've never heard of that before, ever. Talked to Dynamite about that. They said they never heard of that before, ever. We done something no other comic in modern history did by doing that. That said, it was sold out at Midtown in pre-sale. So Midtown, has it where you can go there, and they're the biggest comic company that one's like the hottest one right now for some reason. I guess because it was the incentive.
It's a 1 in 25, yeah.
And Cover Price just released a thing about that one. So, so at the Midtown a month ago was sold out. Excuse me, online. So that means whatever they pre-ordered, they put those online, and they had already sold out at that time. Diamond was sold out a month before at the distribution level, which is good. That's a good sign. Diamond 2 weeks ago asked us, which Ken Spot said that's unusual. They never have had that before. Of course, all this is kind of new to them. They said Diamond requested a second printing of number 2, 2 weeks before it was released. So if it ain't sold out now at your comic store, I would think they'll all be sold out by the weekend.
We still have a few left at the shop. Of course, we order pretty heavy for our local celebrities.
And hopefully, again, man, I saw number 2 regular issues pre-selling for double to triple the price just last week or the week before on eBay. So people are already trying to flip them for double or triple the money, and they're selling. So there's more demand than there are books. That's what's happening. I don't know issue 3 yet. Awesome. I'll be seeing that one here soon. Speaking of the CGC, that got extended to the middle of it was going to be the 22nd tomorrow, but I talked to them, and they said that a lot of people were wanting to get their number 2 CGC, so they're extending it to the middle of December, and the cards too. So
as Matt has pointed out, he really wants that 1 in 20 Halloween cover for the second print of number 1. Yeah, that one. He's desperate for that one. He wants it bad. We only qualified for the 1 up at the shop, and it went off to CGC the day before it even hit the stands. So.
I'll trade you something for it, Josh. Something.
Okay.
I'll trade it for something cheap for you, and then you can sell it to Matt. I'll bring some. So yeah, I'll come up there and see.
You hear that, Matt?
So he'll get you one, definitely, 100%.
So the whole CGC thing, and I've been kind of curious about that.
Yep.
How does that actually work? Are you going to CGC, or are they going to ship all the books to you?
Yeah, like last year, the way it worked, because last year was my first year doing it. I only had 5 comic covers even out at that time. So I don't remember how many came. I know I made good money off of it. I want to say it was only about 2 short boxes that they mailed me and told me to do it. If it's
be prepared to get that hand worked out, because it's going to be a lot more than that now.
Yeah, this one's going to be bigger. I'll probably have to go down there. That's usually how they work. Or they said they'll fly someone up to stay in a hotel, and I'll do it there, right? So they can. When it is a lot of them, it ain't just witnessing it. They know that I'm going to be doing it. It's someone needs to help you, right? They have to be feeding you the comics. And
right. Take them out of the bags and boards and hand them to you. And yeah, so, you need the pipeline set up.
I think this one will be more because hearing from a lot of people, hey, man, I already sent some in and stuff, which is great. So I do think it's going to be a bigger event than it was last year. So that tickles me to death. I'm happy about that. This year they're going to do cards for the first time for me. So my Mark Spears Monster cards, you can send those in, get them signed, get them graded. That's really cool. So
you know what you ought to do? You ought to do them some art to do your own special label.
I had talked to them about, I said, is there a way I could get a label? And they said next year they could, but right now, no. I think if Monsters had came out back in May, they probably would have done it. But they thought, oh, they probably thought when I'm telling them, hey, this thing's blowing up pretty big, they thought, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure it is. And now I think they're realizing that I wish it would have got its own monster label. And I told him, I said, but you could even just have a Mark Spears label. Like Clayton Crane has his own label and stuff. And I said, then it would encompass all the books and people could pay more to get that label. But they said that next year they wouldn't do it for this one. So,
well, boo to them.
Was that a question? I didn't get to see it pop up.
Well, more of an idea.
Okay. I don't have enough time to do eBay, man. I got books. I got a 9.9 CGC Bride. I got 3 of them, and I don't have time to put on eBay. I'm too busy. I'd love to, but I'm just right
9.9?
9.9. So I got 3 just the other day got sent to me. I'd never seen 9.9 on a non-cardstock cover, right? Bride is just a regular cover.
There's a handful of 9.9s and 10s out there, but they're always on weird books like Lady Death number 72. Just some random book. You'll get a 9.9 or a 10, but it's rare.
Well, and I really never thought it would be a 9.9 because of that. Because it's not a cardstock and it's not like a chrome, so I didn't think it would be. Let me shut this door. This dog's about to start barking. Somebody just pulled up. My wife pulled up outside, so the dog's gonna bark. The amazing art story, top notch. Do you think there's a trend towards classic monsters in the comic community as a whole? Yeah, I do think monsters are always popular, and I think this is a good time for that right now. But also, there could be 30 books out there right now that I only know about that have monsters in them that aren't doing well. It's just it's luck. It's right place, right time. It's a lot of different things like that. It might have even been better for me if Image didn't have the Universal license, right? And that didn't come out. My stuff might have been even more popular. So I don't know, if it feeds off of that or if it's off of me or what. But
yeah, but I mean, the difference is with their Universal, because I am reading their Universal line and it has been good, but they're focusing on the individual monsters where yours is, like a one-stop shop. I mean, we get everybody in yours. You're bringing them all together.
Right. My story is basically less monsters, more story. I do have the monsters in there and they're part of it, but it's more of a story where, I have a clear point of where I'm going. Now I'll do flashbacks and I'll I'm doing a Kickstarter that'll be starting next week on the Monster and the Wolf. And it does delve into my Frankenstein's past and what happened and the tragedy and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't want to put it in monsters because I didn't want to take away time to tell a story because Frankenstein's almost a side character in mine, right? You haven't even seen him actually in the actual comic yet.
Nope.
I think his first appearance is in 3 and it's like a few shots, it's just not much of it in there. But, so yeah, it's, but again, I think, the monsters thing is very popular right now. I mean, you even have the Epic Universe happening down there in Universal Studios. Horror movies are always popular, things like that.
So let's talk about this issue a little bit. Because the last time I read this, it didn't have quite as much in it.
Yeah, I had okay. So what happened there was when you make something for Kickstarter, I have a captive audience, right? So I didn't have to worry about issue 2 being a lead into issue 3, right? Because if you read issue 2, you're going to read issue 3 because you're sitting there and you already paid for all of them. Well, with this one, I was like, hey, is there a way I could add some more pages to this? Because honestly, there wasn't much monsters in it. There was the only monster you see is Dracula, the first 3 pages. And they said, sure. And I said, will it not raise the price? And they said, no, we can keep the same price and you can add some more stuff to it. So I added 9 pages, I think, total. And I liked it. It gave you a little bit more story to it, a little extra depth. And I hadn't got to focus on the creature at all. So I got to do a little funny thing with him and got to, I was at first, I was like, I don't know. Cause the first time you're supposed to see Dracula is issue 4 and he's very hidden. You don't see like his face much. So I was like, if I show him, I got to show him, because it wouldn't make sense then why you see him later and he's healed up. So I said, okay, if I show him, I got to show him he's almost like a zombie looking guy. So I did that. And it just came to me one day. I was like, okay, what if I add these pages? Will it take away or add to it? And I thought, okay, I think it'll add to it. And I just went my gut and did it. So I think it does add more to the story, get a little extra out of it because it was focusing more on them go into that military facility. And I was like, that could be boring to some people. They're buying it, a title saying monsters, and they're seeing that. They don't realize, though, those people are monsters as well. I mean, they're doing monstrous acts and stuff like that. So, but it did. I added 9 more pages. I think it worked out. I'm trying to get people to 4. 4 is when it really takes off. And that's trying to lead them into that direction.
Well, I really liked what you did in this one. I liked the you open with a flashback sequence, and that was really well done. I gotta say, the absolute zealous crazy in Igor's eyes is unsettling.
Igor he turned out to be, after doing all 8 issues, one of the most fun characters. At first I was like, he's a throwaway character. And he's getting to be so fascinating because there's a whole story of why he's the way he is. And I was like, oh, this is neat. So yeah, I love Igor now. And that's the thing. A lot of these characters you're going to find out, you'll have to go back. Like I'll mention later on, you'll find out who Igor is. And then you'll be like, what? And then you'll have to pick up an earlier issue and go, yeah, there he was. I didn't even realize that. So it's neat that way. And I like to tie things in together that way too. Especially
those are the best. I love that stuff.
When you meet Dr. Frankenstein in the one I'm doing, The Monster and the Wolf, it's only going to be 4-issue miniseries, but you've already seen him if you read all 8 issues, but you didn't realize that was him. And that's kind of fun to me when you're going, oh, it's an aha moment. I love those. But Igor's great. I've given him.
Well, just remember, Alan and I need to be villagers with pitchforks and torches.
Yes. You're already in the first issue.
But not my good side.
Not his good side. That's it. It was the other side. Yes, I gotta do a cover of you guys. I forgot.
I'm never letting that go.
Apparently not.
So with everything that's been going on with Monsters and how well it took off, what has been Keen Spot's reaction? What have they been saying?
I imagine they're doing something like this. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I imagine they're loving it. They were just saying the other day that I think today they wrote and said the 3rd printing, which is the FOC on Monday, is already surpassing at the same time the FOC for the 2nd printing, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So by like the Thursday that the FOC was for the 2nd printing, its numbers were like at 100. We are over 1,000 on the Thursday before FOC for the 3rd printing. So that's reassuring because that means I think a lot of new shops are ordering, which is good because we're not that many shops. Even though we did 14,000 in pre-orders, that I think that's not that they won't tell me how many shops, but I know that a lot of them people say my store doesn't get it, and I'm like, man, if everybody will get it at all these shops, that'd be great because I think it's something that people want. My goal is to get up to about 20 to 30,000 pre-orders on books. Going forward, that would be amazing. That would be higher than any Kirkman series. I want to say Walking Dead maybe got close to around 20,000 as its average. Invincible was living lower. Saga got around, it was in the 20s to close to 30. So if we could get to something like that, that would be amazing. So that's my hope. And still there's more demand than there is product out there right now. So I'm hoping once it settles, a lot of people are trying to flip them, but we're also seeing a lot of people trying to buy, like they go, hey, I like it. I went and bought 3 covers of it because I liked it so much. So that's what you want as well. So, but yeah, we're hoping issue 3. I don't know when FOC on issue 3 is. It's probably in a week or so.
I'm trying to show this so that Matt can see it. Matt, God dang, it's just not wanting to come out, is it? I had a better idea because this is portable. Here we go. Here you go, Matt.
Nice.
There's your Frankenstein. It's a monster.
And in the 3rd issue, we're going to have about that page with a tribute to Alex on it on the 3rd.
Awesome. Good.
So
I'll order extras for his family.
Yeah, please do. I'll pay for them if you want.
No.
I wanted to do that on this one, but because I added those extra pages, they were like, Mark, because you can't just add 1 page.
Right.
I realized that you have to add 4. And they said, hey, that's not only is that going to cost more to print, they said it also messes up shipping. Everything changes. And I was like, okay, I understand. I said, well, next time I'm adding that page in there and I'll make sure I have an extra page. So,
well, I feel like you need a letters page because I'm sure you've been getting letters by this point.
So
yeah.
I'm looking at it right now on eBay, and the 3rd print 1 in 20 incentive, the Freddy variant.
Yeah.
I'm looking at somebody right now that's got it on eBay for $99.99.
Yeah, they're trying to sell it for $100, the incentive, which is what it's free to a comic store, right? Once you order 20 of them. So
no, it's not free. You have to order it.
Do you really have to? I thought they were giving us free, so you had to pay $5.99 for it.
Yep.
Or the price. So I
right.
Don't know. I thought they actually gave it free on those.
Yeah. No.
But,
it's you get the rights to purchase one of these if you order 25 copies or 50 copies or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the numbers. That's crazy.
Wait, a Freddy variant.
Yeah.
It's the 1 in 20. It's the 1 in 20 ratio variant for the 3rd printing of number 1. So it's gonna be lower.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, hold on. I can tell you more about what that is because they told me today. Because last time only 120 were made for comic book stores. They printed a little bit over to sell on KinSpot, so it was around 160 or so. Here it is, incentive. He wrote me earlier. Right now, as this Thursday, there's 88. So last time it was 25 at this time, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
So it could actually have more printed than the Halloween one, which I don't know. Things can change between now and Monday, right? Numbers go up and down. So
that's true.
They sell them on their website?
KinSpot is selling them on their website pre-order too.
Okay, see, I'm on their website now, but I'm not seeing a thing for shop.
When I go there, I just Google can spot Mark Spears monsters. It takes me right to the pages. I don't know. Their shop is hard to maneuver unless you Google right into it. But again, the numbers great. I can't wait to see what number 3 is. That will actually determine a lot of things. Like, is it going up? I think it will hit over 14. I think no matter what, which will be great. But how much over, I don't know.
I mean, it's extremely rare for comics in the culture that we're in. People order heavy on number 1, and then they cut their orders on number 2.
Yep.
That's just the culture we're in, because people will buy number 1s, but they don't buy number 2s. And God help you if people missed number 1. I don't know. My first issue I ever read of any comic book was X-Men 133. I didn't have any clue what happened in 1 through 132, but I picked it up. I read it. It was amazing. I've been hooked ever since. But nowadays, people like, if I don't get number 1, I don't want it.
Yeah, that's why back when I owned the store, you didn't do the second printing, third printings, fourth printings, right? You really didn't do that.
No.
You did trade paperbacks. You did, but you just jumped in on the story. So I don't know. I think that, if we do a third printing, there might be a fourth one day, just because they're doing that. Like you said, someone doesn't want to get this in at issue 4 and say, oh, but we don't have the other 3. Because no one will buy it. So they want to get the other ones in. Then they have to go to other printings. So I know, we are going to do a second printing of number 2. And I'm working on, I think I got a cover for it, but I'm working on an incentive for it, because they always want an incentive cover. So it's, running.
Now that cover for issue 3, Dracula and the Brides, that is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. That was a cover that I did for issue 1 that we didn't use. So it got reused for this.
So I don't know if you saw Matt's question here.
I probably didn't. Something like this. Oh, how much tightrope did you run? Not on the tightrope, not much. On writing, you can come up with whatever, because Universal's is just for their copyright on the characters. For what's written, there isn't much written actually about, you know what I'm saying? When you, I think Universal come up with electricity for making Frankenstein, right? In the book, they don't tell you what it was. But a lot of people have copied that and did electricity. Mine's not going to be electricity. I've already have it being something else. But the looks, you have to make sure you don't put like neck bolts in Frankenstein's neck. He can't have like a flat top, I think. Can't be green. Can't have a combination of all these things. Dracula,
well, if it's not electricity, he doesn't need neck bolts.
Exactly. Mine is not. I didn't want to put neck bolts anyways. And then Dracula, I think it's a widow's peak, and he can't have red on the inside of his cape. And mine doesn't have color, and he just is balding. He's not got a widow's peak. And that's it. The other characters are like werewolf, mummy's more generic. And then the, what is it? The creature doesn't look like the creature, and my words and story for the creature is different and stuff like that too. So
now, when it comes to like some of these covers, like the like the Freddy cover,
yeah.
Can you just do that, or do you have to get permission to do those types of covers?
No, it's homage, and I'm putting them in the poses of those covers, but Freddy's not in that. Like if Freddy was in it, I couldn't do it. Yeah. So basically it almost falls in line with parody, I guess, because I have a generic girl. I have my vampire and a werewolf's hand, just in the same poses as the Nightmare on Elm Street pose. Just like the Halloween cover. it's more of a parody, I think, than anything else. Plus, I see other ones doing it before I do it because I don't want to be the first and get in trouble. But no, I think that's more, like I said, it's more of a parody homage, and
Yeah.
they get away with it.
Homage is definitely a time-honored tradition in comics.
Now,
I mean, how many times has the cover of Action Comics #1 been redone by people, right? Somebody lifting the car up over their head, and I mean that's been done a million times.
Even movie poster homages have been. I looked that up. For comics have been homaged a lot too. So, and I thought it would be kind of cool if I had a Halloween homage to have a Nightmare on Elm Street homage. And then I even thought about if I keep doing it, I might do a Friday the 13th homage. Which a lot of
I got a suggestion for one.
Oh, what you got?
This is just a suggestion for like the very last issue. Do The Exorcist, except underneath the street light is me eating a bag of Doritos, staring at the demon in the window.
I had thought about doing The Exorcist, but it would be the Slayer's silhouette. But your silhouette eating would be better.
Me eating Doritos, like just gearing up, just fueling up to go in and fight the monster.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I believe I can order the Star Wars cover. I don't recall.
The Star Wars was an exclusive to. Gosh, was that that was an exclusive to Ultimates in South Carolina. So I don't know if you can get that.
I noticed that they have an ad in the back of your book here. How does somebody go about getting one of those?
You just rock Ken Spot, write me, and say, hey, I want to add, and I got some money. That's pretty easy.
Speaking of exclusive covers, we got a handful of the ASM 129 homage cover, the Borderlands exclusive. We got for #1, we got a handful of those up at the shop.
Oh, cool.
The guys at Borderlands are good friends of ours. And
yeah, that's right. Yep.
So, yeah, we got a handful of those. If anybody wants another first print of #1, that's a different cover you haven't seen. That's a fantastic book.
I might try to come by. Maybe we can do something before Christmas on like a Wednesday night again or something, whenever. I come by. If you have any #2s, I can sign those if people want to come in. I have a lot of covers coming out in December, right? I got Thundercats Apex, 2 Action Comics, Green Lantern, 2 Green Lanterns. So if you want me to come
got a lot of books coming out in December. That is 100% accurate.
Yes.
So let's talk about one you just mentioned, though, that Thundercats Apex cover. What's the story behind that?
About how it happened, or what the story about the character? Okay. So Dynamite contacts me right before New York Comic Con.
Hang on now, Matt. We can do that now.
And
Mark's putting out a lot of covers. I just want you to be aware.
I'm making somebody some money. I don't know who it is, but and I'm making some people poor by buying all of them. They contacted. It was the president of Dynamite, and asked me, "Do I have interest in doing a?" Hold on, my wife is mentioning me. And they said, "Do you have interest in doing a Vampirella cover for us?" And I said, "Well, I've done that before. I did a store exclusive one time." I said, "But you do have some characters over there I'm interested in. I like Thundercats, Silverhawks." I said, "You got a lot of great characters that I'd be interested in." And that's kind of. He said, "Well, I'll let me talk to some editors and stuff." And I didn't hear anything for about a week. And I thought, well, maybe that's dead. You know, maybe they wanted me to do that, and when I turned that down, that was the end of it. But no, he want on Halloween. I think it was Halloween morning, like at midnight, which is a weird time to be doing business calls. But
especially since it was a Thursday night this year.
Yeah. Yes. And I got a call because it just happened to where he goes, "Hey, you around?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing work." He calls me up and says, "Would you do a Vampirella cover?" I said, I thought about it. I wouldn't mind doing it if you could. I'll do a Vaporilla because I wouldn't mind doing an official Vaporilla book. If you would somehow let me do Silverhawks down the road, like a cover. And he said, well, I can do, I don't want to give too much away, but he says, I can do you one or two better than that. And he said, how about Thundercats and Silverhawks? And I don't know how much I can give away. Can you edit this out later?
No, this is live.
Oh, okay, I won't say what I got out of it then. But it's if you see me doing a lot of Thundercats and Silverhawks, then you might understand what happened there. But I got a Thundercat. I got a regular Thundercats and Thundercats Apex come out in December. I don't think they've released the image for Thundercats yet. They're doing these.
No, they did for Apex, but not the regular.
So explain this to me, Josh, because I'm not familiar with this. They call them. They said, "Hey, we're gonna make this an FOC book."
Yes.
That's right before the FOC, they're releasing that image just to get you to go. Oh, I want to order some more, so I can get that one too.
It actually drives me insane as a business practice. Boom Studios does it. Dynamite does it. They call it an FOC unlockable variant. What that really means is I have no time to market that to anybody.
No,
if they don't come live with that picture until Friday, and I have to have my order in by Monday, that means I have to put together everything, push the word out, get people, hopefully they see it, and they come back and say, yeah, I want to buy that by Monday.
So that makes perfect sense. Okay.
Drives me nuts.
What they're doing on that is, of course, you already saw Apex was that. I believe my Thundercats is going to be that, and my Silverhawks is going to be that. So pay attention. You'll also probably see a Johnny Quest Space Ghost. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm not saying I did.
FOC is final order cutoff. Yeah, that's right, Daniel.
And then there's also maybe a Miss Fury Green Hornet. I'm not going to say there's not. So there's all these books that are going to be FOCs on Dynamite. Until we hit March, then they will be normal covers. You get what I'm saying? Because they're having to play catch up because everything's already been solicited. So, but keep an eye out for Dynamite stuff. I had a blast doing them. Great company to work for. One of my favorites right now. I mean, it's just awesome over there. And DC, we have a better, I don't know what you call it now, working relationship. It was great before, but since Monsters came out, they're giving me more. I don't know, the word wouldn't be respect, but basically
more latitude.
More like, what do you want to do? And like, what characters do you want to work on? And things like that. So that's great. Monsters has just changed everything in my comic career with other companies too. I talked to Todd McFarlane last night about Spawn 77. I'm getting to, it looks like I'm taking over all of it now. Like I'll take over the writing and plotting. So it'll be basically like Monsters, but with Spawn. So that looks like a next year release. I don't know how many issues it's going to be. Me and him, dude, I never got to do this before. It was so fun. We talked for over an hour about comics, like movies and plot and what could go in this book. It was like a jam session of, hey, you know what would be cool? What if you did this? And I'd be like, well, this would be cooler if we did this. And how many hours do you, oh gosh, I don't even know. In a full issue, man, it took me months and months to do those Monsters. I'm thinking it'll take me a month and a half to do an issue of Monsters or Spawn going forward. Right. That's kind of how much I'm budgeting and what I think. But you also have this Dynamite stuff. I'm getting covers every month from Dynamite and DC. Right. So how do you do all that? What I'm trying to do is work on comics during the week and covers eventually on weekends and on like maybe starting Friday night or something like that.
Put in your requests, Matt. That's all I can say.
Yeah, put in your request. And the thing is on the like Spawn, if it's 6 issues, that's over 6 months commitment. That's a huge thing, but I really want to do it because now I had turned in a plot for Spawn, but it was based on someone else's was saying, hey, this is how it needs to wrap up and this is how it needs to start and all that. Now it's a blank slate, just what me and Todd came up with yesterday. So I'm writing it right now, and I'll probably turn that in tomorrow or Monday. And then once he says, yep, that's good, I'll start the artwork.
I got a question for you, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're spending an hour talking on the phone with Todd McFarlane.
Yep.
And at no point did you say, hey, 1 second, Todd, I got to dial this other guy in for a second.
That was the first conversation I've ever had with Todd that no other person was on the line. Because normally, like, it's his assistant or it's the editor or somebody like that. And honestly, the night before, because I had this meeting scheduled, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, I couldn't go to sleep. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. I slept, and a meeting was going to be at 4. And it was like, how do I get to sleep? I slept about 3 hours finally. Because I was just, it was an excitement. And it was also, I don't know what he's going to do. He might sit there and say, hey, I think I'm going to give it to someone else and all this. So I didn't know what was going to happen. And even right before the meeting, it's 5 minutes before the meeting, and my phone sits there and tells me, you have 5 minutes before the meeting. Well, I was just going to click that as because it was like I have an iPhone, but it was a Google Calendar event. Mm-hmm. So I was just going to click it to get it off. It starts dialing Todd 5 minutes before the meeting. And I'm like, do I undial it? Do I just stop? And then he sees that I've been calling us. So I just let it ring. And then he answers. And I said, man, I'm sorry. I just clicked this. And he goes, oh, no, we're good. Let's go ahead. And
I like that better.
The CEO of Haven. Oh, man. I tell you, Todd's interested, man. It's a lot of the movies we talked about, we both knew, we both have seen. And you would think you would be talking comic book movies, but it wasn't. We were talking about movies about plot and things like No Country for Old Men, Spotlight. Have you ever seen that with Mark Ruffalo and Michael Keaton, about a newspaper? We talked about that one. We talked about The Big Short with Steve Carell and Brad Pitt and all that kind of stuff. So it was really interesting conversations because we're talking about these kind of movies. And I got to see what the Spawn universe is to him. Like what he was saying, look, here's your sliver that you could tell the story in. Do whatever you want to, but you can't have these characters fighting in Times Square because then it messes everything else up because now everybody knows that these people exist, right? So I'm like, okay, so you kind of need it to be one of those stories where at the very end of the day, no one either believes the guy who's saying demons are here or no one ever sees it, besides the guy.
I'll be honest, I actually really like that first one. Like it's being told, but nobody believes it.
Yeah.
Kind of like the whole Cassandra thing, right? She was telling, as an oracle, she's telling people this is what's going to happen. And everybody's like, yeah. Go back in the kitchen. Go and sit in front of the TV for a little bit. We got this. You're silly. And nobody believed her, but she was telling them the truth. And that's more tragic and more poignant.
Yeah, I love it like that because what he talked about was a lot of like today, like they would think you're insane. They would just, no one, if you knew something and you went and told the papers right now, like, hey man, I think he said like if Bill Gates was like a vampire or a demon or something, no one would believe it, right? They would.
Well, there's a subset of people who would believe it.
Well, yeah, that's true. But they would think you are the problem. You're the
That boy is real and he lives in Brazil.
So he also referenced Kojak the Night Stalker, right? Saying
nice.
That he said that's kind of the element we want to play in. So I got a lot of great ideas from that, and I'm going to take the story So this, and I'm not giving nothing away because he had already said this on Discord, but this spawn will not be a hell spawn. It's not a guy who went to the hell and made a deal with the devil. And I like that idea. And I said, yeah, Todd, I'd rather run with that because that deal's already been made, right? That movie's been made, that comic's been made, where a guy goes to hell, makes a deal with the devil, comes back, and it's a revenge plot, right? Where he wants to get his woman back or whatever, like Wanda. And I said, that's already, the story's been done. So whatever I do, if the guy goes to hell and makes a deal with the devil, it's the same story. So I said, I do like this idea better because basically Todd was saying this is an imposter and he's running around and people are thinking he's a hellspawn. Well, that gets some of these other guys going, wait, a hellspawn's loose in New York and it's going to bring the wrong people there to try to kill this hellspawn, which they realize that's not a hellspawn. It's some dude just masquerading as, he might not do it on purpose. He might not know what he's doing, but they think he's a hellspawn. So I said, I like that idea. Let me pull that thread and see where that takes me. So I'm going to go in that direction. And it'll be new and exciting and something different, right? Because I want it to be where if you read Spawn or never read Spawn, you might pick this up and go, man, this is great. I want this. And Todd loved Quentin Tarantino movies where you didn't know when you're watching it what the ending would be, right? Like when you're watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you don't think the ending is going to be what it is, where Charles Manson's shooting up somebody or something. So, because you're thinking he's taking it as a factual thing based on history, but yeah, he takes it into the fantasy element.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing with crap. What was the one? Inglourious Bastards.
Yes, same thing there. And he also did it in Hateful Eight, where you think, what's his name's Kurt Russell's the star, right? Or Samuel Jackson. Both of them are dead by the halfway through the movie or so. So it's very interesting. I was like, I like that. But see, Todd hadn't read Monsters yet. I do that in Monsters, right? I try to take you one direction and I go into a different one because I love that kind of storytelling. I don't want to watch a movie where 20 minutes in, I know exactly what they're going to do. I know that the guy's going to go beat the guy up to get the girl and all that kind of stuff. So I like to make it to where I can subvert your expectations, but not like Rian Johnson and just make it, the Last Jedi. I don't want to do something like that. I wanted to make it where it's logical choices, but it's not what you were thinking the guy would do, and where the story goes. So, me and him study the same kind of directors and stuff, which is great. We talked about Hitchcock, Tarantino, and things like that. So it was a great meeting. I got to get to know Todd more on what he likes creatively. That's it. And that was great. I can't wait to do Spawn 77. I think that will just be amazing because it doesn't even matter to me at the end if someone wants to come in there and do the dialogue not being me. I just want to do the story though, right? Where I choose who shows up, who does it, who leaves and does all that. And then if Todd goes, hey, I wouldn't mind doing the dialogue for this, let him do it. So,
one thing that you could look at, and what made me think of it was when you were talking about a group of guys that are looking at this imposter hellspawn. They're like, hey, we kind of need to stop them. That's going to bring in the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
You could even tell it from the perspective of, say, like Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas. Maybe those guys that are trying to stop them are not good people to begin with.
Todd already mentioned that. He was saying we got to have a Marlon Brando, right? Godfather kind of guy.
One of the cool things about Goodfellas was a lot of their plotting and planning happened in broad daylight in public.
Oh yeah, it's not all dark and everything. So I like that. Definitely it's going to have a crime element like Godfather, Goodfellas, any kind of, what was that one Scorsese just did? The Irishman, all those kind of movies, right? Because it's going to be set in New York during the late 70s. So you're going to have crime bosses and guys are just be like, hey, this guy is intruding on our stuff. the Spawn guy himself will be going after low-level criminals at first. That's, like attached to the mob. That's why the mob sees who this is. But then they go, somebody goes, hey, is that a hell spawn? So it's going to capture the supernatural element too.
I'm going to need to see some big old froze and some big old sideburns.
You're going to see pimps, hoes. You're going to see.
I'm going to need to see some people having a Coke and a smile.
Yes.
Do you remember the movie I'm Going to Get You, Sucker?
Yes.
When he comes walking out in the platform shoes and there's goldfish swimming around in them?
Yes.
We need it.
Disco, right? All that stuff. It's going to be a sign of that time. And
I just assumed when you first mentioned Spawn 77 that part of the whole impetus for that, the whole reason you wanted to do it, was because the color palette of the 70s, and then things like disco with the shiny balls that you could do all those colors that you like to do.
I'm going to, the colors, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to have some horror elements. And we talked about characters. He was like everybody every writer that he gets to do Spawn can't wait to do monster scenes. And I said, I like monsters, but I said, I also like, you don't have to be a monster physically to be a monster. I said, one of your best characters I liked, Todd, was Billy Kincaid, right? Before he died. And I was like, that's why I always talk about like No Country for Old Men. That guy in there, Javier, when he had the air thing and the hair.
Now, Blue Hellion lives out in Nebraska. All right, Mark.
Okay.
He just went to a con and saw Tony Fleeks, and I told him before he went, I said, what you got to do is you got to walk up and ask him if he's ever heard of Mark Spears.
Oh, God, no. Man, people are going to get so mad at you, man. That's so funny. I can't wait to see Tony in person one day, and we're gonna laugh about that. Oh man,
that was just the funniest thing. And he's like, I feel like there's a story here, so we shared briefly the story. But yeah, I was like, you got to go, just tell him, ask him, have you ever heard of Mark Spears?
Oh God, he's gonna hate me one day. One day he'll be like, man, I can't stand hearing that guy's name anymore. But
dude, I talk to people, and I keep hearing about this other guy. Can't we just talk about me for a minute?
Yeah, I'm here to promote my book, man. I ain't here for Mark Spears. So, that's great. I'm sure
that's a good observation there, Matt. Yeah.
Okay, exactly. Well, that's why my thing is I like making – I told Todd this. It's all about character. A character can be a monster and look like Alan, right? It doesn't really matter what they look like. It's their actions and the way they carry themselves. That's what's really cool about that. So,
well, look at if you look at the book is Cabal by Clive Barker, but the movie is Nightbreed.
Oh yeah, I remember Nightbreed.
The humans were the monsters.
Yeah,
and Midian is where the monsters go to survive the humans.
Dude, we got to get you back on to talk some DC comics, brother. We got to talk some absolute Superman, absolute Batman, absolute Wonder Woman. We got to talk Question all along the Watchtower. We got to talk Action Comics. We need to bring you back. Mark, I don't know if you know him, but he is like a walking encyclopedia of all things DC. The guy is incredible. You ever need to know who's who in DC? This is the man you need to talk to.
Well, I needed him a couple days ago. They told me I'm going to do a Batman Dr. Occult cover, and I had no clue who Dr. Occult was. I had to look that up. So that's cool. I just did speaking of Absolute Batman, I just did an Absolute Batman cover, but it's an exclusive for a store. So I don't know. I think it comes out in March or so. But that was fun. I love doing that exaggerated anatomy and stuff like that. But yeah, man, tell me when he comes back on. I could pick his brain on some DC stuff because some of it, it's just too long of a history for me to get all of it, right? So
I don't know if you're familiar with this saying. I don't know if you're much of a football guy, but it's a thing that goes around where folks will say, a lot of football fans they'll watch their team play. A
Right.
lot of like Alabama football fans, they're watching tape, like the way the team watches tape, right? They're breaking down the play and they're saying,
Yeah.
well, you should have run to the left, you should have covered that guy. Um, when it comes to reading comics, especially DC comics, this dude is watching tape.
Oh wow.
He is picking up all the minor details, every little thing, and he's tying the stuff together. And he makes so much. Like I don't know, he's proven that the editors aren't stupid.
Oh, that's good.
Stuff is connected that should be connected, and it's just brilliant.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I don't take my hat off to a whole lot of comics fans and readers, but he is one of them.
Who's that? He don't even remember that day. I bet you anything. He don't even remember that interview with the Mark Spears thing. That was in one ear, out the other. He's waiting to talk about Tony.
No, but it was quite funny.
It's funny video. I'm the Rain Man of DC comic fan.
But he's got a great show too, man. He doesn't bring guests on a whole lot, but he might want to bring you on sometime to talk your DC comics. He's got a phenomenal show with about 10 million more people than we have subscribed.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. He's good people.
But yeah, we will try to do something. I'll get with you soon. Maybe we can do it first couple of weeks of December or so. I'll try to let some of them books come out. Right? Let me see when Green Lantern and the Action Comics come out, and then I can go by there about like on a Wednesday or something. Hey, that's a great Christmas gift. Get a comic book signed by me and put it in somebody's stocking. There you go.
So you cannot do it on December 18th because I will be out of town. So I got to be selfish.
All right. Well, that's the Wednesday before then. We could do it. We could do it the 11th, the Wednesday before that, or we can do it on a Thursday or Friday. I don't care.
Could be a Saturday too.
Could be a Saturday. Whatever you think would get the most people out to Haven for you, because it ain't that long of a drive for me, right?
Right. That's what I keep telling you.
I know. I've only been to town probably 3 times since I've been here. I don't go to town much because I live out here in New Hope. I go to Hampton Cove to get groceries and stuff. That's about it.
Yeah, that I will say, I agree, dude. That John Stewart cover was spectacular.
Oh, thank you.
God, that thing was great.
Now, see, if you do it on December 7th, that's my birthday.
That's a day that's long living infamy. Come on now.
And we could do birthday cake and everything.
That sounds pretty good. I don't mind. Is that on a Wednesday?
No, that's on a Saturday.
Okay, Saturday. I wouldn't mind doing that either.
Come out, buy a Mark Spears comic, get it autographed, eat a piece of birthday cake. I mean, we can do something.
Man, that sounds good. I like that too. Let me find out when stuff's coming out. I don't really have many engagements in December except family Christmas stuff.
I would like to point out, since you have brought up the creature cover for Monsters 2, we only had one left on the shelf, and I made sure Alan got it. So I don't have one, but Alan does.
Okay, I got you. I don't like to put this out there. I don't like to put this out there because then I get hit up with all these messages. But I do have I got tons of number 2. I haven't sold any of my number 2s yet. So I got you on your creature. I got you on incentives. I got everything. So if you need to know that stuff. Heroes Con, I was supposed to go last year, but Metropolis was like the same time, and I did that one. I might go. Maybe if Josh and Alan want to go with me, we'll do that.
I very much want to go.
I would love to go to Heroes Con one time.
Heroes Con is like a legit comic show. It is the comic show.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Is it's like more because it's not the celebrity thing as much as comics. It's like the best one to go to. Do I have
the metal covers, Legion?
Yeah, or is he talking about the chrome foil? I have the chrome foil of number 1, and I have the metal too. So I have something of everything.
Oh, he's got so many covers coming out for DC. The month of December, he's got like 4 or 5 coming out.
And then January, it's like 4 or 5. I just turned in a Green Lantern the other day. They got me down for doing 3 more Green Lanterns, I think. And then I'm doing a Justice League. I just turned in a Justice League Superman Flash race.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
I turned it in, and I'm talking to the Justice League editor, and he loves it. And I'm saying, hey, well, I use the same kind of poses as that 80s comic, which is also based on another homage from like the 60s, right?
Yep.
And he goes, then Paul, the head guy at DC goes, oh, Mark, it's an homage because I have to get that cleared through a different department. I'm like, what? I should have said nothing because nothing. It's just the poses because I wanted to use those same poses.
Well,
and
yeah, because they're classic,
right? And then, but a day or two later, he goes, "Nah, all good. We're going to." And then it was like, and we already have an homage for that cover, and he goes, "Nah, never mind. We're going to use this." So,
I'm just trying to figure out how he didn't know.
That's
one of the most famous covers in DC history.
Right?
How does he not know?
He hadn't chimed in yet, so Paul might have known. I don't know if the Justice League guy knew and just wasn't saying, like, is this an homage or not? I didn't know the rules there at homages. I know I had never done an homage cover at DC, but I didn't know you had to clear it.
That's kind of strange. You got to clear it.
I totally agree that they should.
I don't know why. Especially if it's something that is theirs, right? Like, I understand if they're saying, we don't want to do a lot of X-Men homages. You know what I'm saying? I understand that.
And they don't want to dilute the power of an image by doing it too many times. I get that.
That's probably why.
Yeah. Charlotte, North Carolina, Matt. That's what I was waiting to tell you. So it's what, a 7.5 hour drive from here?
Yeah, it's
about 7.5.
The comic show. If there's a comic book you've always wanted to lay eyes on, it's going to be there. You want to see your Detective 27 or your Action 1s or your ASM number 1s or Amazing Fantasy 15s. They're going to be there.
So, yeah, I might go. We'll talk about it. Maybe I can get y'all. We can all just go as a group. But I'll do long stuff during the day. But
yeah, if I ever get in a position to buy a Daredevil number 1, I'll end up having to buy it there.
I just read that what he said. That's my Action Comics number 1. Are y'all
That's
going
fantastic. You ought to do. You know what you ought to do, Mark? You ought to do an Action Comics number 1 homage with Frankenstein's monster throwing like a carriage.
Oh, a carriage.
Maybe with the horses still attached. I don't know.
Dadgummit. I'm going to have to write that down because that would be great for next week for the Frankenstein, the Monster and the Wolf thing. I that.
I just pictured it.
I was never going to do that one because I was like, I don't want to just draw on a car and all that. And I was like, I've seen that so many times, but with a carriage makes it, right? Because you're changing it up. The carriage did it. So I'm writing that down, man.
With the carriage, maybe with somebody's face in the window going like, I'm still in here.
The carriage makes it like, oh man, that's a perfect homage then. That's perfect. I love it.
Or you could do Frankenstein breaking Stalker's back like Bane breaking Batman's.
Yeah, that's a good cover too. I always like that cover. It was hard. I did some covers that are homages for Werewolf by Night. I did a couple of those for the Monster and the Wolf. I did an homage to the Romita Spider-Man 50 where he's, Peter Parker's working toward you, but the Spider-Man's in the background. I did that with the werewolf. So I did a few this time. I didn't do a lot of homages like I did before. Some people hate homages. Some people love homages. I don't know. What I usually homage is books that I had, right? The ones that were my favorites or something. And so like the Action Comics makes me think of, I had that book of the Spider-Man homage to it. McFarlane did of Action Comics. And I had a bunch of homages of that one. So I'd like to do that one. But yeah, it's basically any books that I had, which I had the Batman Bane. I had all those. So I like homages. Homages are actually easy because
You don't have to think about
is
the
that you're
angles and
taking
stuff,
away
yeah.
the thinking out of it. Now you do have to make it kind of fit the character, because some characters just won't fit as a substitution. But other than that, you're taking away all the guesswork out of it and just saying, okay, I can do that. So
I don't know why I just thought of this, but this would be another fun one. You remember the old treasury size book of Superman versus Spider-Man?
Yeah, where Spider-Man's on the little
The spire
tower.
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Superman's flying up here.
Flying or so, yeah, right beside.
Get your ninja on here and Dracula flying up here.
I could do that because that would make perfect sense. The ninja's on top of like that tower thing, and then Dracula is flying up there like a kind of a Tomb of Dracula thing.
Or you do a G.I. Joe homage, G.I. Joe #1, and it's all the monsters coming out of a carriage.
I thought about doing that because
it would need to be G.I. Joe 21. He needs to homage G.I. Joe 21.
What's that one?
The silent issue.
Oh, that one? Okay. I wanted to do an homage to G.I. Joe because, again, I love the comic, and I couldn't figure out a great one to do. I do have now. I did a Transformers homage of Transformers #1 this time, and it took me years to ever go because I always thought there's no way to homage that. It's very stylized. You know what I'm talking about? The picture of Optimus, and they got the two figures. So I did one. I'll have to show it to you. I'll probably showing that on Facebook here in a day or two, anyways. But I did it where it's Frankenstein is Optimus Prime in that section, and then I have like Dr. Frankenstein and Igor as the two faces and stuff like that. So it took me a while to figure out how to do that one, but I think I might try to do a G.I. Joe. I would, because again, I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan, and I think it kind of goes with the whole thing with my ninja guy and all that kind of stuff. So,
okay, well, speaking of being a G.I. Joe fan,
I was very tempted to do a Bilbo Baggins speech since we turned 11-1.
Since turned 11-1.
But
have you read G.I. Joe 1 yet?
No, of the new Skybound, no.
Okay, never mind then.
He's gonna agree though that Rock and Roll is dead.
I heard it wasn't good. I heard it was okay, but not. They didn't blow it out of the water like they should have done. Is that correct or is that wrong?
I don't think they blew it out of the water, but it was a great book. Yeah, I mean, it really was.
It was too much focus on, like they would show a character that you've already been previously introduced to in the little miniseries, but they would show a character and say like who he is and re-catch up like that. Then another one, here's this so-and-so and this. And that's just what I heard when I was doing these podcast stuff. People were talking about it.
Well,
so
you can't assume that everybody already read
no one
the
read
limited series before.
ones.
So
right.
This is a real #1.
Yeah.
And so they give quick little shout outs to people.
Okay.
I think what they really were doing was trying to build the team, because right now they're just a bunch of individuals. And he's putting the team together. They're not a team yet, and they don't fight like a team. They don't work like a team. And he's trying to build that team. He had a lot of groundwork to cover, and I think he did that admirably. It didn't hit quite as like boom out of nowhere as Transformers did, but we've also had 20 issues of buildup between the 4 limited series to get to this point. So it didn't have to hit quite as hard. But it certainly was not a letdown by any means. And the ending of it hit like a ton of bricks.
Well, I had heard like if you gave it out of a 10, people were saying it's around a 7, but they were hoping for an 8 or 9. But you would give it a 9 or 10? I
would say it's like a solid 8.59 for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would agree with Josh on that.
Well, that's better than what I heard, so I might have to read it. I was hoping because this is what I asked them when they told me this. I said, then which did you prefer better, Transformers #1 or G.I. Joe #1? They said Transformers #1. What would you say?
G.I. Joe #1 for me, but for a couple of reasons. One, I'm more of a G.I. Joe guy than Transformers guy. But 2, I think there's a little bit of bias built in because there was no lead in to Transformers.
Right.
You just got Transformers, and it had to hit hard and heavy to get your attention.
Yeah.
Go back and look at what the sales were for Duke and Destro and Scarlet. And who's the other one that just ran right out of my head?
Cobra Commander.
Cobra Commander.
Oh yeah.
Those all got their introductions, and the sales were great on those. They hit great. This is finally pulling it all together. So it's got this job of pulling all these disparate pieces and pulling them into one thing. It's only going to get better. Did it hit as hard as I wanted it to? No, it wasn't a solid 10, but I don't think that it was disappointing at all. It was solid book.
Oh, that's good. Good to hear, because I was hoping there would, I want this to go a long time, because I want to do a few covers for it. So
I do love this right here. This is a great recommendation. That's funny.
What is? Them crawling up from the Batman 66 TV series.
I'm just picturing whoever's got their face right, like in Frankenstein monster's butt, is going like, oh.
Oh me.
That's hilarious. That's a great recommendation.
Well, guys, I'm going to wrap it up and go eat. I hadn't ate yet. But
it's getting late in the day.
I've been so busy with work, man. I gotta take some time off. Working myself to death. Well, those look pretty. I like them.
I will say this one's my favorite. The old, not that weight grab, the wrong one. The old EC.
Oh, really? See, I like love EC covers. Yeah,
I love that. That's just so my speed. That is reminiscent. That brings me back. I totally dig it.
Hey, Gunslinger. I see. He's on my Discord too. Is there any other questions you had, guys? I'll answer one before I go.
What is your Discord?
I don't even. It's Mark Spears Monsters. I don't really know what. I don't even have it open right now. I would tell you. I don't remember. But I have a Discord, and I did that back when I started doing my Spawn stuff. Because Odd Key and all that kind of stuff, and they made me a Discord over there, and it's.
Man, you brought everybody over here. That's awesome. Appreciate you guys.
They're all there. I just show up and everybody shows up. I didn't even tell nobody. I done forgot. So I guess man, are they tracking me somehow, Josh?
You hadn't noticed they all put that tracker on your phone.
That's what it is, man. They all know exactly where I'm going to be. But
Matt's been asking this question, so we need to answer that.
When you go to it's the same way as a regular cover. It's just before I'll research the cover to see what's out there. So I'll say there's a cover I kind of like. Then I have to sit there and figure out what characters do I have that would mix with that. And then I kind of like to have that character in that issue, if possible. If not, it's not too big of a deal. But then you want them to make perfect sense though. So you don't want, like I wanted to do Secret Wars. I like Secret Wars -- 1, but when I look at that cover, I'm like, I don't have that many flying characters, so it wouldn't work. That would be a tough cover to homage. So things like that. The better ones for me to do are ones that don't have that many characters on them, and then I can substitute them out easier. But I try to look at that. I look at something that I like, and then I go, okay, that'll be a good cover. So,
hey, when did you do the Wicked of Oz?
I did the card series for that. It came out last December, about a year ago.
I'm just now seeing it. That Tin Man looks amazing.
I was just doing a podcast earlier about that, and they were asking about that, and they said, is there any chance you would bring Tin Man into the Monsters universe? And I said, I've been thinking of that, because out of the other Oz characters, there's not many really I do that with, but Tin Man, you could actually make as a robot, and actually they just call him Tin Man. Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I love Tin Man so much. The concept, everything looks great on him. So I actually might bring him into the monster universe. because I mean I could do my own Wicked of Oz story, but he would be the best character in it. So might as well bring the best character over to the monsters, maybe. But I love
Well, that and flying monkeys.
The Wicked Witch, the Flying Monkeys would all fit very well. So you could do those. Even the Wheelers, if y'all know what they were, you know, the from like Return to Oz and stuff, but they rode on feet or I mean little wheels. So I might do that. Dorothy and stuff, I have no interest in, but you know, those other characters would be pretty cool.
So I go on Discord and I put in Mark Spears monsters and I get no results. Gunslinger, since you're on his Discord, can you post the invite link?
Yeah, he probably can. They all probably can post it for you.
And Blue Hellion out in Nebraska had this question for you.
What's some of your favorite characters things when you first started learning to draw? Well, first thing I ever drew was Bugs Bunny. Then I would draw things, you know, like Super Friends, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, things I saw on TV. I didn't get comics until I was probably about 8 or 9. And then, you know, you try to emulate that stuff. Thundercats, Silverhawks, Transformers, G.I. Joe, anything that I would see, I tried to draw. It didn't look like it, but, you know, in my mind, it was still fun. But yeah, that's when I started doing more stuff. So it's one of the first comic book pages I ever did that I turned in were to Todd McFarlane, and it was about a character. It was my own character I made up, and I put it in the like a, what do you call it, an alleyway and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, all these years later, I'm going to do a book over there for Todd McFarlane, doing alleyway, you know, doing the same kind of thing. And it's just like full circle. It's weird, but yeah, I drew anything and everything just about when I started out.
Well, that is interesting. Well, brother, we appreciate you joining us as always. We don't want you to waste away.
All right,
best go get you something to eat.
We maybe we could do it again. Maybe I come on here again before Christmas too on Shop Talk if y'all ain't got a guest one week, because like, you know, we can talk about the Kickstarter and stuff when it's live and go through the covers and all that kind of stuff. And then but like I said, let's try to get a day where I'll show up out there to Haven, because somebody want that as a Christmas present or something. And we got a lot of covers that we can help move over at Haven. And I'd like to say hi to everybody before the end of the year too. So
we'll do it,
Matt. But yeah, if any of y'all are out near Haven, Josh will announce it soon. We'll get a whole date planned, and yep. I'll shave and look really pretty. I'll look as pretty as Alan. And
that's going to be rough.
All right, guys. My dog's sitting there scratching on the door wanting me. All right, guys. I'm going to take off. It's been a pleasure. Right. Thank you so much. See you
Always
guys
good
later.
talking with you, brother. You have a good one.
Right, we'll talk to you soon.
That was fun. Always good to talk to Mark. But yeah, I tell you, this is my favorite cover outside of the creature from the Black Lagoon. That's my favorite cover. I love this old EC horror. Just fantastic. But this one is gorgeous. That's the 1 in 25 incentive. But doing the old Batman 423 Todd McFarlane homage. That's a good one. Beautiful cover. I know we don't have much time left, but there were a couple other comics I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, this one is one, Alan, I know you were on the email I sent out there, the text thread I sent out the other day. This is such a good book, Seance in the Asylum. Yeah. Really good comic. The story is awesome. It feels very early mid-90s Dark Horse, like something that Mike Mignola would have done back in the day. Great story. The thing that bugs me so hard, and I have never been so put off of a book by the lettering before as I have on this book. The lettering is awful. It's and we have a friend who's a comic book letterer for a living, and he said that's not normal for this guy. So he's wondering if it's an editorial decision. But it's a script. It's a font, a script that is very difficult to read, and it's very small. So the size of it and the font itself, very challenging to read. I mean, I'm doing like this with this book, like, and even then, it's difficult to read, and that's a good chunk of it. But then there are other places, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but the text box there, you see the white text box or the speech bubbles with the black text in them. But in the near one, it's a black speech bubble against a black background with blue text.
Yeah,
that is
that's rough
darn
right
near
there.
impossible to read. Extremely frustrating. I have never ever in my life encountered a book where the lettering made me want to just throw the book across the room. But this one does it. What was one of the other ones I wanted to talk about? If you guys did not pick up the first issue of Batman Full Moon,
It was so good.
it's very good. This is the second issue, and this is another glow in the dark cover. So charge this bad boy up, leave this cover out for a little while, and then turn the lights off and just stare at the beauty of that cover because it's very nice. Yeah, I'm with you. The cursive is very difficult to read sometimes if it's not a clear font. And I understand the use of the cursive here because it's like a description of us, like the "My dear Margaret," in the war today. I had my leg blown off. It's that kind of time period. It's that kind of text that they're doing. So I get the impulse to use that, and I have no problem with it. I just have a problem with it's not a good font, it's not a good script, and it's too small for the beginning. And then that blue on black, that was just a bad choice. Dude, yes, I would love to see the covers that Tony Fleeks and Tone Rodriguez did for you. I bet they're awesome. But let's see here. What else did I want to show folks real quick? Oh, yeah. All right. So I've always been more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy. But the new Justice League is really taking off. What DC is doing with All In is great. This book right here, The Question, All Along the Watchtower, it's a limited series. I think it's 6 issues. It's the Justice League have got their new space station where they all live and whatnot. But there's already a problem. I mean, they just formed, but there's already somebody trying to destroy them from within. And so they bring in Renee Montoya, The Question, to get to the bottom of it and solve it. Really, really interesting book. It's a good mystery. And it's pretty cool. It's a nice introduction to the Watchtower, too, so you can kind of wrap your head around what this place is. But that's a good, solid book, and I think it's going to be underread and underappreciated. But definitely check that out if you like a good mystery. This one... Fabian Nicieza has a Moon Knight story in here. And you got a modern Moon Knight, but you also have an ancient Egyptian Moon Knight.
Now that sounds cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Ancient Egyptian Moon Knight. If it's even Egypt, it could be Persia too, some of the look of some of these people.
As long as we don't get that manga Moon Knight again that we got.
That was like the one flaw in this book was that, and it was so long too. It was like, no,
yeah,
I did not care for that. Geiger just keeps on trucking on. This book right here I wanted to talk about. Wonder Woman number 15 kicks off a new story arc called Fury. And if you read the last issue, if you know what happened, we talked about it a pretty good bit. They killed off Steve Trevor, and the last issue was Diana grieving. Pure grief for Steve Trevor. And it was poignant and heartbreaking. And we got these little interstitials of the Sovereign, the bad guy of this story arc. We got these of him like preparing for her to come back, trying to get retribution, because he did it with that goal in mind, to get her to tip her hand, come in reckless, and put herself in jeopardy. And she never did it. And it wasn't because she was like above that. She was just in grief. And it was poignant, and it would make you cry. It would absolutely make you cry. Have a good one, Matt. It's good to see you, brother. This one, she's getting over the grief. Not getting over. That's not going to go anywhere. But now she's turning to fury. She's turning to retribution and revenge. And the way that she does it, you can see that she's not just a simple-minded, single-focused person. She thinks strategically. She thinks like a general, and she deploys forces, and it's brilliantly told. It's brilliantly told. And then the secondary story in the back, and I don't like a secondary story if it's not very good. I like the bonus of having one there, but it has to be good. It has to bring something to it. And this secondary story, if you don't like feel a little, you don't get a little something in your eye, I question whether you have a soul, because it is beautifully done. And it's essentially, you never see him. You see people talking to him, but it's all from first person perspective. It's essentially Steve Trevor is in heaven, but he's not happy.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to read. Very interesting to read. But this book right here, it's not necessarily jam-packed all action all the time. There's a lot of exposition that happens in some of these. This issue, not so much. But there's a lot of exposition that happens in Wonder Woman. It's Tom King. He's got a very deliberate approach to writing comics. This one is, if you've not been reading Wonder Woman, pick up the first 2 trades. It is such a good read. It is so very, very powerful. And Daniel Sampier's art is about the best thing that's on the market today from anybody doing a regular monthly book. Daniel Sampier is phenomenal.
Blue Hellion just sent me these. This is the 2 books that he was talking about. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it any bigger than this, but...
You going to share your screen?
Yeah.
While you're doing that, you want me to show you something?
That's about as big as I can make it on here, I believe.
That is pretty tiny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then...
That's fantastic.
There's the other one.
Those are great.
Yeah, they are. Those are great.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well done. Well done. That's great. This one, you're saying, well, I already have this book. This is just the black and white cover. But Mike Weslowski brought this back from either Memphis or Tucson and said for us to just give it away or whatever we wanted to do with it. So there you go, Alan.
Oh, no, that's awesome.
It's just the black and white cover of a book you already got, but there's the important bit, is it is signed.
Nice.
It's not signed by Andy Kubert, which is what I thought, but it's signed by the inker, Cordos. So, boom, we got a signed book.
Now, see, that, crap. The guy that they had in the suit that everybody thought was Cobra Commander.
Yeah, just the Crimson Guardsman.
Yeah, just the Crimson Guardsman. I really hope he's got a future after this is over with.
I do too, because he's awesome.
Yeah, he's been pretty badass.
He is awesome. This is the exclusive cover that they had. It's really going to be hard to see because of the glare, but it's a carnage cover, which you don't normally care for. But this cover by itself may deserve a red band because it's disturbing to look at. But this was the exclusive cover for the Memphis show. And Mike brought this back for us as well as something we can give away or do whatever with. So he's always looking out for our folks and bringing things back for us to do giveaways and such. Really appreciate that. That's awesome. But yeah, I think that puts us right at the 2-hour mark. So yeah, we're good. Ready to close her up, I think.
Yeah, we just crossed the 2-hour.
But yeah, we will certainly schedule an evening or an afternoon or something with Mark to bring him up so that we can. Okay, hang on now. We have a question. That's a good question. I don't know. I think you say will ever be popular over here. That's a tough one to forecast because manga used to not be very popular over here now, but now it outsells comics by a huge percentage.
Well,
manga is extremely popular, so I would imagine things that are corollaries and related to manga will probably see a similar increase over time.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to think, it would. Yeah, the 90s to some of us was like day before yesterday. And the others, they feel like it was 100 years ago. But in the comic book world, the 90s really wasn't that long ago. And manga was more of a underground cult following than anything else at that time. And then it just exploded, not too long after that. So it could become popular. I don't know.
Well, we had a lot of folks join us tonight that we hadn't seen on the show before. Really appreciate you guys coming on. If you want to sub to our channel on YouTube, we'd love that. And love to see you more in the future. Talking comics is what we do. Sometimes movies or TV shows, but mostly comics. Sometimes books, regular books too, but again, mostly comics.
And occasionally food.
Well, we talk about food a lot, so that doesn't matter what other thing we're talking about, food comes up. But if that's the kind of thing that you dig, we'll be here doing it. And we'll bring in comic book creators as we find them as they're willing to come on the show, which is more often than you might think for a small show like ours. We've had some pretty big name creators come on this show, and we've got others that we're scheduling and looking to talk back. So, Blue Hellion, brother, that Nick Ellis, he's a wily one. He doesn't even read comics anymore. He's difficult. I don't know if we'll ever get him back, but we'll try. We might even try and get his brother sometime. See if we can't get those two bros back on here. But you go ahead.
Speaking of food, next Thursday is a national food holiday. It is pretty much Christmas for us fat people. Y'all have a very, that is, Thanksgiving is Fat Man Christmas. I mean, let's be honest, and I'm looking forward to it.
I have never heard it described that way. And I hate I feel so true, but I love it. I'm going to start hanging out a stocking.
Yeah, really. But hey, y'all have a good Thanksgiving. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Remember what to be thankful for and all the good stuff.
Yeah, you guys have a great night. And we won't be on next week because it is Thanksgiving. But we look forward to catching you guys next time. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful weekend. Go out, read some comics, and then come back next time so we can talk about it. Thanks, everybody.